BayFM 107.9.
I'm sure you remember this one, James Morrison with the song called Man in the Mirror. Well, I'm starting with the man in the mirror, and the man in the mirror, it is, or rather the female this morning in the mirror, it's me, myself, and I. This morning, a brand new feature on the BayFM brunch, She Thrives, and Alethea and Bernie is going to tell us a bit more about that. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning, Adorè.
Good morning, everyone.
How are you doing this morning?
Absolutely fantastic.
Wonderful.
Wel, dit is klein Saterdag soos ons sal sê in Afrikaans. Die ergste is verby, dis amper naweek. And this morning we are speaking a bit about Burnout 101. So now I need to find out from you, what's the difference between burnout and just being tired, moeg? My moeg is moeg.
Okay, great question. Well, I think if we look at definitions, because we love definitions at SheEO, and I think if we look at the definition according to WHO, or the World Health Organization, burnout is actually defined as a state of chronic workplace stress that hasn't been successfully managed. Now, if you look at that, it sounds a little clinical and very sterile, right? But the truth is that burnout doesn't just show up at work. It shows up in the classroom, the bedroom, the kitchen, our classrooms, and our communities.
Okay. So you're actually saying that burnout can happen anywhere. It's not only people that's working, not people that's stay-at-home moms. It's anywhere, and it can happen to anyone.
Definitely. So for me, with the ladies that I teach, it could be that mom that's always giving, that, we hear the saying, my moeg is moeg.
Yes.
My tired is tired.
Yes.
It doesn't matter how much you sleep. It's like that fatigue doesn't go anywhere, and it's just considered normal.
Yes.
It's not normal. And sometimes you have to figure out a way and sit with yourself and really ask. I had this with the one client, and I said, are you tired or are you in burnout? And she never heard that expression before. And when, like Alethea explained, what the World Health Organization considers burnout is, and when we spoke to, and Alethea is going to get into it a little bit later, she said, I believe I am in burnout, is when your nervous system is so overstimulated, and I'm sure you've seen it or you've experienced it, whereas women get a little bit snappy, where we're considered moody. This is a form of burnout, ladies and gentlemen.
Absolutely.
Saying moody. Isn't it supposed to all women are moody? Am I not supposed to say
we
that?
are not. We are not all moody. We are either really exhausted or in burnout.
Now, what are some of the most common signs of burnout in women?
Okay, that's actually a really great question, Adorè. So I think the first or the most common signs is definitely exhaustion, as Bernie said, and that's the kind of exhaustion that sleep just does not fix.
Yes.
Right, that's the first one. The second one is depersonalization or detachment. Again, just, leaning into what Bernie said. This is where individuals start to really feel disconnected, snappy, irritable, and then sometimes even numb. So it's kind of like you're going through the motions, but you're not really there. And the third one is reduced performance. I think this is when it really starts to now get to the extreme, is really when you start to struggle with focusing, start forgetting things, and you constantly feel like you're dropping the ball.
Would you say it's also if you invite me to a party or to a function or whatever, and I say, not tonight, that last minute cancel, is that part of burnout? Is that some of the signs?
I think that definitely could be some of the signs, is when you really start to disconnect and you isolate and you no longer feel excited by the things that used to excite you before. I think that's definitely one of the signs.
Now, this morning we are speaking about Burnout 101. You also mentioned about South African women that's being affected by burnout. Can you share some of the stats in South Africa?
All right. Well, actually, I think if we look at this, it's a really great question, because it's not just a global phenomenon only. And if you look at statistics in South Africa specifically, 1 in 3 women or 1 in 3 employees are suffering from burnout. That's roughly, it roughly equates to 33% of the workforce, which is a huge chunk of women who are struggling with burnout. And if you just narrow in just a little bit more, according to research done by Deloitte, 40% of South African women report feeling burnt out, with 51% saying their stress levels are higher than just a year ago.
Wow. Do you have the ages that the burnout would affect?
At the moment, with how the world has changed and technology has pushed us, even our younger teens, tweens are feeling the pressures of burnout. And what I mean by this, and there is the one book that I really love, and is at the moment is called The 5 Love Languages, and you get the 5 love languages of teens. And it really blew my mind with even the first few pages, where he explains how, because of social media, what's considered normal is actually not normal. Kids are born into such a tech phase that they don't know how to switch off.
Yes.
Burnout is a form of not switching off. An example would be, you are so super tired, you've been booked off from work for stress.
Yes.
But you find yourself on the cell phone, you find yourself scrolling, you find yourself not being able to switch off.
Yes.
So it's not just even gender, I can say gender, it's not age protective, it really is figuring out, look here, where am I? How do I put in measures to protect myself? Because it, like Alethea said, is a global phenomena, and it comes down to looking at the signs, the extreme exhaustion, being disconnected, like I said, snappy, and then apologizing. In the workplace, because I've been in hospitality, it can be as simple as checking your teammate and colleague and going, wait, Alethea doesn't act like this. What is going on? Having conversations, because firstly, the school doesn't help you with this. No one teaches you, look
Yes.
here, your kid's actually not being disrespectful. She or he is in burnout. Your mother is exhausted beyond. And if you maybe complain and say, look, we're eating chicken again, and you know, and I'm sure someone's sitting there going, oh my goodness, this is me. You are in burnout, but you can catch this. You can catch this, eh?
Definitely.
I'm so glad that you're saying that someone is listening. So if someone is listening this morning, and this person rather is feeling, but this is me. This is all the signs. Now I know this is burnout. I need help. What can I do to fix this?
Fantastic question. So there are definitely a couple of science-backed practical reset tools that you can use, and also daily practices that you can practice on a daily to just kind of prevent. So we're big on preventative care. So just a couple of them, if we can run through them really quickly. I love a 90-second breathing break. Or a 2-minute nature break. So a 90-second breathing break could just be literally breathing in and out slowly and deeply. That helps to calm your nervous system in under 2 minutes. Another one which I love encouraging my clients to take as well is a 2-minute nature break. Just mindfully stepping outside, looking at the sky, sitting in the sun for just a few minutes can really help to reset your senses. And then just a third one, which I feel is really powerful, is just naming the stress signals early. So if you're feeling overwhelmed, name it. Say, I'm feeling overwhelmed right now. Sometimes that is just more powerful than pretending and pushing through.
And something that I always say, it's okay not to be okay. Môre is nog 'n dag en dinge kan beter raak.
100%. And then a couple of daily practices. I think Bernie can just go through that quickly.
So I love these, and I call these self-protective measures, my queens. And this is AKA known as boundaries. Stop saying yes to everything. And I've adapted this tool, and I give this to my clients too, and I say, don't say yes. Say, let me check my calendar. Let me check my diary.
I'll get back to
because
you.
you struggle at first to say no. At the moment, I can just say no. No, that is not no. Doing karaoke on a Friday, I can't. I've got an event. I've practiced that. And then the other thing is, if you just start doing things in silence. I wake up, I have that first cup of tea or coffee in silence. It does the world of difference. I love journaling. On my page, you will see that I'm journaling all the time. And the best thing for me is a brain dump. Whenever I feel super overwhelmed, it was yesterday actually. Guys, just because we teach this doesn't mean that we exclude it from it. I had to do a brain dump because I felt like I was so busy, but I was getting nowhere. And I know there are a few of us going, seriously, a brain dump? It works wonders. And I pray This morning before I left the house, I got on my knees and I said, thank you, Jesus, that we are able to be reaching more women, because this is why we do what we do. An evening ritual is also very important. Alethea loves yoga nidra. You can do just a quick calm down before bed. You must remember that we are so overstimulated. It takes us an hour before our body calms down. So think about it. If you're going to bed at 11, you're only going to fall asleep at about 12:15 because of all of the blue light, because of all of the stimulation. And one of my friends in the US, her name's Mary, she does a brain dump before bed. And I never thought that this practice could be useful, but it's so useful because think of your brain like your phone. When your phone's gallery is full and at capacity, you delete. Our brain is exactly the same.
100%.
Except if you are not deleting folders, those tabs stay open, and this is why you can't sleep.
100%. So this morning, to the woman listening, what message would you like to share with him?
Well, I think if you are exhausted, detached, and you're really struggling to focus now, then that's your body asking you to pause
Yes.
and not push harder. So I think also just not waiting for burnout and actually taking control now, choosing those daily practices, putting those protective measures in place like Bernie said, and just watching how that shifts the way your nervous system and your brain and your body functions.
Ladies, thank you so much. We'll catch up again next week, Wednesday. So not checking your calendar. You'll be back next week, Wednesday.
Of course.
BayFM 107.9.